welcome back to ADHD Whiskey. If you're new to the channel or in case you forgot, my name is Matt. And in today's video, I'm telling you all about the brand new STAGG I purchased just for you. Sweet, super awesome ADHD Whiskey intro music. Awesome intro music. And we're back. Last weekend, me, my wife, my 2 children, all 4 of us, we went bowling in the bigger town about an hour from here in Grand Junction, Colorado. There's a liquor store next to the bowling alley, so after we bowled a couple games, in which I bowled poorly, I hit up the liquor store next to the bowling alley, and they had a varietal of allocated bottles sitting on the shelf, and I was like, do I purchase one or do I not? Truth be told, since the new year, I've been extra picky and extra choosy with which bottles I've purchased. I haven't really come across much that I must buy. Not around here anyway. But when I wandered into this store, I saw a few bottles on the shelf that I had to inquire to learn more, like their price. They also had an E.H. Taylor barrel proof for like $2.29, I think. I think it was $2.29, and I was like, do I or don't I? I don't know, but I didn't. Long story short, I didn't. Because remember, I'm being extra careful when it comes to purchasing new bottles. Just being extra careful when it comes to the pocketbook. But sitting next to the E.H. Taylor barrel proof was a STAGG. What was previously known as STAGG Junior, just sitting there. And I gandered at it and I peeked at it and I looked at the batch number and I was like, ooh, it's the brand new one. It's the brand new batch of STAGG. When I inquired about the price, I figured it was gonna be high, and I was right. $169.99 plus tax. According to MSRP, that's like $100 too much, but I sat there and I contemplated it, not for very long, because remember I had 2 children and a wife waiting for me. But at the end of that contemplating, I said, you know what? I haven't seen a review for the brand new STAGG, so $170 plus tax later, the dude put it in a bag, which cost me extra because we live in Colorado. There's a bag fee. Was $170 too much for the brand new STAGG? I don't know, probably. I hemmed and hawed about it. I didn't quite think I was gonna do it, but then I did it, and then I didn't really regret it until I got home and realized that this is 2025. And the bottle I purchased was the brand new release if this were still 2024. Son of a bitch. Oh! What you see here is a bottle I overpaid for to get the first review of STAGG 25A to you. But it's not 25A, it's 24A. That was a mental lapse. You would think that somebody who's being way more careful than normal about purchasing bottles would be much more careful when purchasing bottles. Anyway, STAGG 24A. America. Everybody else on the internet already knows all about this bottle. There's like reviews on it, there's people talking for an entire year about it, but here I am, a year late, thinking I'm ahead of the curve, thinking that I'm gonna be the first one out of the gate. Damn it. 63.8% ABV, 127.6 proof. George T. STAGG was born in Kentucky on December 19th, 1835, which was a good year. I got my first MacBook that year. STAGG built the most dominant American distillery of the 19th century on the banks of the Kentucky River. During a time known as the Gilded Age of Bourbon, the distillery survived floods, fires, droughts, and even prohibition when it made whiskey for medicinal purposes. Today, Buffalo Trace Distillery strives to carry on the tradition of its famous forefather. Uncut and unfiltered, this robust bourbon whiskey ages for nearly a decade and boasts a bold character that is reminiscent of the man himself. Anyway, the only STAGG I ever saw in a store in the year 2024 was in the new year of 2024, and it was the 23C, which I purchased from the same store, by the way, but I think it was actually a bit more expensive, like $189, which was even dumber of me. Anywho, This is 24A, the 1-year-old version of Stagg. Let's put it on the nose. That smells like a dirty glass. Son of a bitch. People say don't wash your tasting glasses in a dishwasher, and I have one thing to say to them. Shut up. But you're also probably right. Try this glass. Oh, there we go. That doesn't smell like a nasty glass. That smells like friggin' bomb-ass bourbon. Oh yeah. Traditional Buffalo Trace distillate nose, cherries, vanilla, oak. This is a bit more puckery, a bit more bright. This is a bit more peaked, a bit more sharp. Some of the other Stagg Junior releases I have, a bit more of a sweet tropical cherry with a tangy twist. Smells like one of those fruit cups that you ate when you were little, or you try to give to your kids. And by try to give to your kids, I mean you buy them for your kids, but you don't really buy them for your kids, you buy them for yourself. But if your wife asks, you bought them for the kids, and you eat them without even telling the kids. That you peel the plastic top off of, and they're like, you know, pineapples and peaches and like 1.5 cherries, and they're inside of like a corn syrup mixture if you get the good ones. Yep. If you poured this for me and told me that it was Stagg, would I believe you? Yeah, I would believe you. Buffalo Trace products, including the Stagg line, even though they're roughly 130 proof, they're non-confrontational bourbons. They're not like standing there with the picket sign in front of you when you're trying to get to work. Although the proof might cause a ruckus, the flavor profile is very, very reasonable. And for that reason, most people love the Buffalo Trace pours. And that's what we have here in stores. A very inviting nose on this Stagg 24A. Damn it. Down the hatch. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it is ethanol forward. It is ethanol forward and sharp. It is a sharp ethanol forward. Whoa. To be fair, before this, I sipped a sip of the 23C. Then I think I took a sip of the batch 18 as well. Those seem to be a bit more bolder and darker and like mysterious. This 24A is pretty bright and sharp. The cherry on it is a bit bitter. The ethanol forwardness is forward. It is a bit puckering and like jarring. This doesn't seem to be a very well-rounded blend. This seems to be more aggressive and jagged and pointed. I'm gonna pour a little 23C next to it. America. Just to see if I'm crazy or not. But I think that the previous batches weren't this like, bleh. It's like if the old Stagg Juniors were a bass drum. 24A to me reminds me of like a cymbal. The 23C is a lot softer. Back to the 24A. I'm not getting a super depth of flavors in this Stagg 24A. I'm getting a lot of brashness, a lot of ethanol forward sharpness. It reminds me of driving on the rumble strips on the highway. Just it's like being yelled at by your wife while you're driving on the rumble strips. That's what that feels like. It's still good. It's still a Stagg Junior. It's still sharing that Buffalo Trace profile. When I used to live in Chicago, I was walking by the John Hancock Center, which I don't think is called the John Hancock Center anymore, which is a shame, but I was walking by there and I saw a dude road raging on another dude, and the dude who was the center of attention was driving, I think, a Maserati. He may have been in a Maserati, if Maserati makes a convertible. But if it wasn't a Maserati convertible, it was a convertible. And he was yelling at another guy, and he was doing this. And I was like, weird. That, I believe, is like the middle finger in a different country. Anyway, this Stagg Junior 24A kind of reminds me of that. It's a bit of like an asshole. I can agree to an aggressive Stagg Junior if it's aggressive in a way that makes me feel safe and understanding. But this is more of like a Maserati convertible asshole of a Stagg Junior. Therefore, I don't give it a score that a typical Stagg Junior would get. I still think it's very good, but I don't think it's great. So I'll have to give it a score of 7.78. It's still very good. It's all the harshness with none of the subtleties. It's like if you were in love with a man or a woman with an anger problem, and even though that they had outbursts, you still loved them because the majority of the time, or the overwhelming amount of their personality was sweet, caring, loving, sensual, intimate, sexual, and pleasing. That would describe a typical Stagg Junior. This one is more of like, holy shit, they're gonna drive the used Subaru through the car dealership's glass wall, and I'm gonna have to pay for it. That's my review of the brand new, I wish, Stagg batch that I purchased just for you, and to get the news out first. Still not happy that I was a year late. Anyway, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the thumbs up, or I will rent a convertible Maserati and run you down. My name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey. Like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on testing your new electric shaver and its qualities and measurements and stuff before you use it. Because my children, if you remember, decided to hang a metal necklace from the prongs of the charger that was plugged into the wall for my old electric shaver. And when I went to unplug it, it created a full circuit and blew flames out of the wall, which also made my old face shaving device inoperable. She don't work no more. She fried. So I had to buy a new one. When I went to the store, could I possibly find the old shaver that I already had just to replace it? No. Had to buy a new one. Then I got home and I put it on its highest setting to trim my beard and realized that it wasn't trimming nothing. Nothing at all. And I needed a good beard trimming, so I cranked her down 3 notches. Zoom, and I shaved off damn near all of my hair. Therefore, this is what we get. A super thin-bearded, double-chinned, unhappy Matt. Love you guys. See you in the next video. I'm out of here. Big kisses, big hugs. Tell your kids to stay off drugs. And by drugs, I mean tablets, because they're just as bad. It's probably not true.